Hello there guys, welcome back to Easy Tutorials by Dave, and today, or this video, we are going to do tabs and indents. Now you can see up here I've already pre-built a document for you so you can see, and you need to look at this ruler bar here. Keep your eye on that because I need to explain something in a second. Notice also that over here you've got your tab selector. Now if you click on this tab selector, notice it changes the shape of the tabs, or the type of tabs that you can set, and they go around and you just keep going on them and they change round as they're going round. Now if you look at this document, these are the tabs that it's changing. You've got a left tab, you've got a center tab, you've got a right tab, you've got a decimal tab, you've got a bar tab, you've got your first line indent, and then you've got your hanging indent. And each time you click on this little fella up here, that's what these to go, it switches between them, and just the type of tabs that you set. Now if your ruler bar isn't showing, you need to come up to this little button here, view ruler, and then just click it and it'll turn it on and off. So if it isn't on, do turn it on. And then notice as we're coming down, notice my cursor is in the first paragraph here. Notice the tabs are set for that paragraph, remembering what a paragraph is. So when we highlight the paragraph, notice these are the tabs set to this paragraph. Now if we went down to this paragraph, it's a completely different set of tabs, because these tabs are set differently on this paragraph. And that's what you've got to understand about Microsoft Word. You can set tabs by paragraph, so you can have different type of tabs in each paragraph. Now to set a tab is real easy. Okay, what you do, you come down here, notice there's no tabs on, you select the type of tab that you want. Now let's imagine that I want a right tab, so I put a right tab on there. No, select it there. Then I come over here and I'm going to have a right tab at 2.5 centimeters. So I put my mouse pointer there and I click. Notice that's a right tab set on that paragraph. Then I'll go to a left paragraph tab, sorry. Then I'll come over here and we'll say 3.5. And then we'll go to a center tab. Notice it hasn't got the dot on it because that's your center tab there, look. And this is the decimal tab with the little dot on it. Now I'm going to set the center tab at, let's say 9.5. And then I'm going to go and get another right tab. Notice that's a little right tab. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to set it on the right margin, right on the margin, like so. And that is how you set tabs up with the mouse. Now if I press the tab key and then I type Anne without an E, then a tab, and then we'll do Jones. She lives in Leeds and her number is 012621223. Now notice what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use the shift and enter key, and notice I get a new line there, not a new paragraph. Then I'll tab again and we'll put another name here, and then we'll come across there. Now over here we'll just put another number. And again shift and enter, and then tab, and then tab it along again, I'm not sure if I spelled that right, but it's not a problem. It'll give you the idea, and then we'll do like that. And this time I'm going to press enter. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to clear all the formatting. So at the moment, as you can see this paragraph here, you've got your tabs on up here, okay? Now you click on clear all formatting and notice everything's gone. All the tabs have gone on that paragraph, yeah? So when I press enter now, these paragraphs are clean. They aren't nothing on them paragraphs. Where here, they have got your tabs that you've set for that paragraph. Now basically what you've done here, you've made it so this is one paragraph. So from the start here down to there is your first paragraph. Notice here's a new line, here's a new line, and there's the paragraph. Now all it means that I don't have to have everything highlighted. So if I'm here, and as long as my cursor's anywhere within that paragraph, if I was to move this center tab, notice everything moves with me. Where if you don't do it via the paragraphs, only the one paragraph will move, and that's when you can get into trouble. But to avoid it, like I've said before, just highlight everything and then come up here and then just move them, and they all move anyway. So as long as you're deliberate with the highlighting, you haven't got a problem. Now then, that's how you set tabs by the mouse. But you might want to do it via the dialog boxes. So you come up here and notice here you've got your paragraphs dialog box launcher. You click on that and you get your little paragraphs box. Now down here in the bottom left, can you see the little tabs button? So we'll click on that and you get this tab stops box. Now this tab box is here, look. You've got your first one at 2.5. Now that's a right tab, notice there. It is no tab leader, yeah, and that's where it's set at. If we click on this one, the 3.5, we know it's a left tab because it's showing me there, and it hasn't got a tab leader, okay. And then you go down, and this is what you see. You can reset them if you wanted to. Now the center one, this one was a center tab. Let's say that I look at that and I think, oh no, I could do with that being a left tab and have them all aligned in the left, yeah. So what we do there, we just say left tab and then no tab leader and set. And what it'll do, it'll then change it to the left tab. And once we say OK, notice now it's changed it to a left tab. And likewise, we could change it back to center if we chose to. So you can set them individually in this box. Now this one here, I'm going to set a tab leader on the last one. So what a tab leader is, it's a little line that goes from here to there. So you can it follows your eyes, it leads your eyes to the number. Now if we use a right tab, we're going to give a tab leader of 2, which is the little dotted line. I could use the dashed or the little straight line, but we'll say the dotted line and we set it. And then we say OK. Notice now you've got the tab leader along. And if I want to move this left tab, and let's say we want to move it over to 7, notice now the tab leaders are leading your eyes into the number. And then when you click outside of here, look, notice now there's no tabs because you're on the clean paragraph. You're on the new paragraph that we cleaned anyway. And tabs are really easy if you keep control of them. These are the type of tabs that you can set. You've got your left tab, which looks like an L. You've got a center tab, which looks like an upside down T. You've got a right tab, which looks like a backwards L. You've got a decimal tab, which is a upside down T with a dot on it. Your bar tab, that puts a dead straight line between a column. I'll show you that in 1 second. Your first line indent obviously is on there. I'll talk about that in a minute, and your hanging indent. Now if I set a tab here, just let's highlight them because you'll see what I'm talking about. If I chose to do a bar tab, can you see there? Look, I'll put a little bar tab on, and then I come over here and we'll put a bar tab at 3. Notice it puts a dead straight line between you. So it's like columning them down. It's really clever. And again, you can move you can move it as you like. It's really good. I'm going to clear that one. So if I want to clear a tab, I just click on the tab and pull it off, and that just clears the tab. If you want to work out measurements and you want to see the measurements from these, all tabs are set from your left margin, by the way. So that's your left margin there. So that's your left margin there where the line is, and all these measurements are from that margin line. Now if I nip and hold that, so I've got the mouse pressed down, if I hold the Alt key, can you see now the measurements? And as I move it, look, you can see the measurements change. So if I have got, something that I need to get to, I'll just hold the Alt key down and then set the measurement per tab. And it does it on them all, look. So again, look, can you see it? So it is really a lovely little trick, and it just makes it so easy for you. And that's how you set your tabs. You can also set your tabs straight through the dialog box. If you go to the paragraphs dialog box launcher, you go into the bottom corner and click on the tabs, and that brings this little dialog box up. Now if you set the first tab to, let's say, 2.5 centimeters, we're going to make it a right tab. We don't want any tab leaders, and we'll say set. There's your first tab set, and that'll be on 2.5, and it's a right tab. Then we'll go at, let's say, 3.5. So let's say 3.5. We're going to make this one a left tab, and we will set that also. Then we'll have one at 9. So if we say 9.0, I want to set this one as a center, and it'll be a center tab, and we'll set that one. And then we're going to have one at 15.5. So 15.5, and I want to have a tab lead. I want to have that one to be a right tab. Notice it's a right tab. And then I want to have it set at a tab leader of number 2. So it's a little dotted line. And then I want to say set on that also. The 9 centimeter one was a center tab. Let's just put that, and let's change it to the left tab. So you say it and then set, and it just resets it. So that's all the tab stops set within this one dialog box. And then when I say OK to that, notice there's your tabs up on the ruler bar. Can you see them? And you can modify them and play with them. Now, if we press the tab key and say Jim Smith, yeah, coming over from Dover, and then bang, and then see the tab leader, and then we just do 4, 5, yeah, and then literally shift and return, and then we say Sally Brown, and then we go in, and it's and then literally again you're getting the idea that you can see, you know, and then you go across there, and then it's, you know, to just the number again, it's just to give you an idea. Oop. And again, now when we press enter on this one, because I am now finished, just to show you, because I'm finished with the tabs, notice on this paragraph all the tab stops are still there, and as long as I continue to go down with the tabs, they would stay there. But because I want to remove all formatting, because that section that's where the tabs end at that section. So now I'm going to go back to a normal paragraph. What I would do is I would do Control Q on the keyboard, and that removes all formatting. You can click on this one also, look, yeah. And then I just go to the page layout and I get rid of this spacing after, because the default takes it back to number 10. And then from this point, what happens is these paragraphs now, every time I press enter, notice now these paragraphs are clean. There's no tabs up here. But the second I go back into where the tabs are, notice there's your tabs. Now again, notice on these tabs I've done the new line thing. So when you click, and you click the paragraph, that's the entire paragraph. So if I move anything, I just have to place my cursor anywhere in that paragraph, and then I move these along, see, like that. And there you go, look, that goes along there. And I'll just turn them paragraphs. And that's how you set the tabs, and the tab stops through the dialog box. And if you wanted to clear the tabs, again, it's exactly the same thing. You just bring the box back up, excuse me, and then you would select the one you want and just say clear, and that would do one individuals. Or you could say clear all, and it would remove them all. If I say clear all, watch, clear all, okay, there you are, look, they've all gone. So real straightforward through the dialog box, and that's how you do it through the dialog box. Now, the indents. I'm going to play with the indents on this one here. So I'm going to do this paragraph of text here. And what I want you to notice is these two little markers here, they're indent markers. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to zoom in so you can see them. And then when you see them, notice that you've got three items. You've got the first little triangle, you've got the bottom little triangle, and then you've got that little box. Now if you move your first line indent, we call it, if you move that along, that will only affect the first line of this paragraph. Notice how it's indented the first line only, okay? If you move the bottom little triangle, it will affect these lines underneath the first line. So I'll put that, oh no, I haven't got the little box on its own, it's a very fine line there. Notice that is going over there, so now it becomes a hanging indent. But the hanging indent is too far in from this margin line, so what we would do is we'd pick the little box up, and when I pick the little box up, notice it moves this and that triangle together. So if I pick the little box up, notice both the triangles are now moving, and you can move them together. If you understand what's going on, you will then be able to play with them so much easier. They're not problematic when you understand what these are doing. Now this would become what we call a hanging indent, so that's a hanging indent. You've got a full line indent like so, and then you can move them wherever you want to. Or you could have that in there like that, and that becomes what you call a first line indent. So it depends what you want. The indent, I'll put one at, let's say, 1 centimetre, just so it's indented in. Notice this side's jagged, yeah? Now you can indent this side, but you've only got the body indent, so you can only bring the whole lot in with this indent on the right hand side. That is there like that, yeah? Now, to do the indents, you can do Control M, but it doesn't work in this software, in the recording software, so I don't know, but it does work on your computer. So Control M, each time you do it, increases your indent. Control Shift M decreases the indent. So you can do it by keyboard if you want to. Notice up here in your paragraph section, on your little paragraph group, this one increases indent, so notice it increases it, and this one will decrease it, so that will take it off as well. A hanging indent is Control T. That will hang and give you a hanging indent, and Control Shift T will reduce the hanging indent. So you can do it like that. To get the hanging indents via the dialog box, you come up to the paragraph section, you click on the paragraph dialog box launcher, and you come here to the indent markers. And here's your indents here, look special. So you could say the first line indent, and then your measurements here. So you could scroll it up and down. Or you could say hanging indent, and then that'll give you a hanging indent. And it's showing you a little example of what you're getting down here. Can you see the hanging indent there? And then here, look, if I say first line indent, you've got the first line indent there. Or you could say none, and you could have them in. And then you can hang them up like that, so you can put these on. Notice down here, it's showing you how big the indent is. So you can do it via the dialog box if you wish. And you can set them up. And that is your indents. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give us a like. Don't forget, if you subscribe to us, you can ask us questions and we'll give you a little bit of help. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it of some use. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.